Some horses aren't naturally aggressive. They're made that way by the people around them. Small repeated mistakes in handling, training, or care can slowly turn a calm animal into one that bites, kicks, or refuses to cooperate. And the worst part? Most of the time, the person responsible doesn't even realize what they're doing wrong. Horses are sensitive animals. They read body language, respond to tone of voice, and remember how they're treated. If you constantly send the wrong signals, even unintentionally, your horse might react with fear, frustration, or dominance. Over time, these reactions can turn into full-blown aggression. In this video, we'll go through 9 common mistakes that make horses act out, mistakes that even experienced owners can make. We're not talking about obvious abuse or neglect. We're talking about small errors in approach, routine, and communication that slowly wear down the bond between horse and human. If your horse is starting to act differently, becoming pushy, impatient, or even dangerous, it might be time to take a closer look at your own behavior first. Let's break down the most frequent causes of aggression in horses and how to avoid them. 1. Inconsistent boundaries, confusing leadership. One of the most common reasons a horse becomes aggressive is the lack of clear, consistent boundaries. Horses are herd animals, and in a herd, roles are defined. When humans interact with horses, we automatically take on the role of leader, whether we mean to or not. But when leadership is inconsistent, the horse gets confused, anxious, and often reactive. Imagine one day you let your horse nudge you for treats, and the next day you scold him for doing the same thing. From the horse's perspective, that's unpredictable and unfair. This confusion can lead to frustration and pushy behavior, sometimes escalating to nipping or charging. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being harsh or dominant. It means being consistent. If a behavior is not acceptable, it should never be allowed, no matter the day, mood, or situation. Horses thrive when they know what's expected of them. Many people mistakenly interpret early signs of dominance, like crowding, leaning, or pawing, as cute or harmless, but left unchecked, these behaviors can develop into more dangerous ones. To prevent aggression, you need to lead with calm, steady authority, not force, just clarity and consistency. 2. Lack of mental stimulation. Boredom turns into bad behavior. A bored horse is a ticking time bomb. While many owners focus on physical needs like feeding, grooming, and turnout, they often overlook one key element: mental stimulation. Horses are intelligent animals. When they don't have anything to engage their minds, they invent their own games, and those games can quickly become dangerous. A horse left in a stall for hours without enrichment might start weaving, cribbing, or pawing. Over time, these behaviors may escalate into biting or kicking during handling. Even horses with access to pasture can get mentally dull if they're not challenged or interacted with regularly. Simple activities like groundwork exercises, trail obstacles, or just changing the routine can keep a horse mentally sharp. It's not just about burning energy, it's about giving the horse a job, something to focus on. Aggression that stems from boredom often gets misread as bad attitude, but the root cause is usually frustration. Think of a smart kid stuck in a classroom with nothing to do. Eventually they'll act out. If your horse is acting cranky or unpredictable, ask yourself, is he just bored out of his mind? 3. Ignoring early warning signs. When a nip becomes a bite. Horses rarely become aggressive overnight. Almost always they give subtle warnings first. A pinned ear, a swish of the tail, a shift in weight. The problem is that many people ignore these early signals, either because they don't recognize them, or they think the horse is just being moody. By the time a horse bites, kicks, or charges, it's usually because earlier signs were dismissed. A gentle nip might seem harmless, even playful, but it's often a test. If you laugh it off or let it slide, the horse learns that pushing boundaries has no consequence. Eventually, the behavior escalates. Reading your horse's body language is crucial. A tense jaw, stiff posture, or direct stare can all be signs of discomfort or resistance. If those moments aren't addressed calmly and clearly, they can snowball into full-blown aggression. Correcting early behavior doesn't mean yelling or punishment. It means stepping in with clarity and calmness before things get worse. Let the horse know immediately and fairly that certain actions are not acceptable. Think of it like steering a car. Small corrections early on prevent crashes later. With horses, it's exactly the same. 4. Poor timing in training. Rewarding the wrong thing. Timing is everything when it comes to horses. A reward given 2 seconds too late can reinforce the wrong behavior. A correction delivered too early or too harshly can cause confusion or fear. Over time, This miscommunication creates frustration, and frustration often turns into aggression. Imagine you're leading a horse that suddenly pulls on the rope. You wait a few seconds, then tug back hard. From the horse's perspective, he doesn't connect the correction to the pulling. Instead, he just feels pressure and discomfort without understanding why. The result? He may become defensive, anxious, or even aggressive during leading. The same happens with praise. If you ask a horse to stop and he obeys, but you only reward him 5 seconds later, maybe after he's already moved again, he doesn't learn that stopping was correct. Horses live in the moment. For training to be effective, praise or correction must happen immediately, within 2 to 3 seconds of the behavior. Anything beyond that becomes meaningless or even counterproductive. If your horse seems to be acting out, check your timing. You might be rewarding behavior you don't want, or punishing when your horse is already confused. 5. Using pain as a shortcut. When pressure becomes punishment. There's a big difference between using pressure to guide a horse and using pain to force obedience. Unfortunately, many riders and handlers blur that line, often without realizing it. When a horse is repeatedly exposed to uncomfortable or painful pressure, especially without clear release or reason, it can develop defensive, even aggressive behaviors. Tight nosebands, harsh bits, excessive spurs, or rough handling on the ground can all send the wrong message. Instead of seeing the human as a trustworthy leader, the horse starts to associate people with discomfort. In response, some horses shut down. Others fight back. It's not about being soft or letting the horse do whatever it wants. It's about fairness. Horses learn through pressure and release, the release being the reward. If there's no release, or if the pressure is too intense, the learning stops and resentment builds. Some horses tolerate pain longer than others, which is why problems can seem to appear suddenly. But in most cases, aggression has been simmering beneath the surface for a while. If your horse flinches when touched, braces against cues, or reacts violently to being saddled, it's worth asking, is this resistance or is it pain? 6. Lack of personal space training. When closeness becomes dangerous. Horses are large, powerful animals. Allowing them to invade your personal space without permission can be a major safety risk, and it often leads to dominant or aggressive behavior. What starts as a horse gently nosing your shoulder can escalate into crowding, pushing, or even striking out when things don't go their way. Many people unintentionally teach their horses that it's okay to get too close. Hand-feeding treats, allowing leaning, or ignoring small nudges all send a clear message. You're in charge here. Over time, the horse begins to see the handler as a peer, or even as someone they can move around at will. Good personal space training doesn't involve fear or yelling. It means calmly teaching your horse to stop, back up, and wait until invited forward. This builds respect and helps the horse feel more secure within clear boundaries. Aggression often begins with small invasions of space that go unchecked. If your horse crowds you, stands too close during grooming, or pushes past you at the gate, take it seriously. These are not harmless quirks. They're signs of imbalance in the relationship. Respect goes both ways. It starts with space. 70. Overhandling nervous horses. Too much contact too soon. When a horse shows signs of fear or insecurity, many people respond with constant touch, petting, or talking, thinking they're offering comfort. But in the horse's world, too much handling during a moment of anxiety can feel overwhelming, not reassuring. In fact, it often makes the fear worse. Horses rely on space and stillness to process emotions. When humans crowd them or try to force closeness during stressful moments, like trailer loading, vet visits, or meeting new environments, it can trigger defensive behaviors. This might look like head tossing, backing up, or even biting. The intention is good. You want to calm your horse. But if your energy is nervous, your hands are busy, and your voice is constant, the horse feels pressured, not supported. The key is reading the horse's body language and knowing when to pause. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can do is step back, breathe, and let the horse settle without interference. Aggression in nervous horses often comes from overstimulation, not true defiance. Give them time and space to trust on their own terms, and you'll build a safer, calmer relationship. Less touch, more patience. That's what they need. 8. Unfair expectations. Pushing beyond the horse's limits. One of the most overlooked causes of aggression is expecting too much, too soon. Whether it's a young horse being rushed into work, an older horse asked to perform beyond its comfort, or a rescue with trauma being treated like a blank slate. Unfair expectations create pressure, and pressure can lead to explosion. Some signs are subtle, pinned ears during saddling, tail swishing under saddle, or resistance when asked to move forward. But when these signals are ignored and the pressure continues, a horse may eventually snap, bucking, biting, or lashing out. Not out of stubbornness, but self-defense. Every horse has a learning curve, and some carry emotional or physical baggage that takes time to unpack. Trying to train at a human pace, especially with deadlines like shows or sales, often backfires. Pushing too hard doesn't just damage progress, it damages trust. A horse that feels unsafe will stop trying to please and start protecting itself. Before labeling your horse aggressive or difficult, ask, am I asking something he's truly ready for? Or am I skipping steps in a hurry? Success in training isn't about speed. It's about building confidence, one fair step at a time. Deister, inconsistent handling between people. Mixed signals create tension. Horses thrive on routine and consistency. When different people handle the same horse with different rules, tones, and expectations, it creates a confusing environment. One person might allow the horse to walk ahead on the lead rope. Another insists he stay behind. One uses soft voice cues. The other uses sharp corrections. To the horse, it's chaos. This kind of inconsistency doesn't just slow training. It creates stress. And stressed horses often become defensive or aggressive, not because they're mean, but because they're unsure of what's coming next. Imagine if your boss changed the rules of your job every day, without telling you. You'd get frustrated, maybe even angry. That's exactly how many horses feel when they're passed between riders, grooms, or family members, without a clear, unified approach. To avoid this, everyone involved with the horse needs to follow the same basic guidelines. Agree on commands, boundaries, and routines. Keep the horse's environment as predictable as possible. Aggression often surfaces in horses that are simply trying to cope with mixed messages. Clear, consistent handling from everyone creates confidence, and confident horses don't need to fight for control. One voice, one plan. That's how trust is built. Aggression in horses is rarely random. It's almost always a message, a signal that something isn't working in the relationship, the training, or the horse's environment. While it's easy to blame the horse for being bad or dangerous, the truth is often more complex and more fixable. Most aggressive behavior starts small. A push, a nip, a step too close. Over time, when these early signs are missed or mishandled, the behavior escalates. But here's the good news. If aggression can be learned, it can also be unlearned. By understanding the common mistakes that lead to aggression, from inconsistent boundaries to poor timing, from boredom to physical discomfort, you can prevent problems before they start. Or if you're already facing challenges, you can start making changes that rebuild trust. Horses don't want to fight.